Hi everyone. Hope everyone having great day today. Today with another video, we are going to upload the Node.js application to AWS App Runner. So I have created small application using Node, Handlebars and Express. So Handlebar, you can create the full stack application if you want to, and Express are used for standard routing purpose. Okay, so this is quite small application I built, and this is the small application I built, which is standard Node application full stack, and we are going to deploy this application to our app runner. Okay, AWS App Runner. So it is using handlebars and standard uh, HTML, CSS, and also the Express. Okay, for routing purpose. Not big one, like quite small application, just to give you the demo how to deploy this application to production ready. To deploy the application, what we're gonna do is I have created the Dockerfile for this Node application, and so we're gonna Dockerize this application, which I already did. Then the next thing is we are going to upload to the GitHub repository, and I created the connection with the AWS CodeBuild. So the AWS CodeBuild is basically gonna help us to deploy to build and to deploy to the actual that container, Docker container, to ECR. Okay, so AWS has the built-in pipeline, okay, which, and it has few components, which is code build, code commit, and code deploy. Okay, in this case we are going to only use code build, because we are going to build the Docker container and then push that Docker container to ECR. Okay, through ECR it will automatically push or deploy that container to the actual app runner. So it's like quite simplified, handy application, small one. Small CI/CD concept is there also. Uh, so we're gonna use the major components will be GitHub account, AWS account, and we're gonna, when we are going to deploy the application on app runner, there is one question come into mind: why app runner? Why not the EC2 or ECS? Okay, so why it is special that we are going to deploy to app runner? So it's because simplicity and speed. Okay, it has like zero infrastructure management. We don't need to like manage infrastructure at all, and just deploy your code and container, and that's it. Automatically it scales up and down from 0 to 1000 request in a few seconds. Okay, and it has a built-in CI/CD, so connects directly to GitHub ECR for automatic deployment sort of things. Okay, and we don't need quite complex configuration, so it needs like minimum setup compared to EC2 and ECS. Okay, and cost wise it is like paper pricing, paper usage pricing. So when application process the request, then you pay, otherwise you don't. Okay, and it automatically scales up and down, like depends on whether it's idle or application is very busy. Okay, and the best thing is we don't need load balancer, it's automatically adjust stuff. for you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about. As a developer point of view is you can build the application and you can market the application in faster time. So you can deploy basically in few minutes, not hours, and it automatically it like follows HTTP, and so HTTPS certificates, so you don't have to worry about security point of view. Okay, and logs, metrics, and tracing also included in this app runner. So observability point of view is it has built-in observability available. Okay, so and also you don't need much DevOps expertise if you are developer. And app runner UI is best for web applications, APIs, microservices with variable traffic sort of things. If you're not sure whether it will be very busy or like thousand requests today or might be not, so that's the best. If there is uncertainty and you are not certain that how much traffic you can have, variable traffic, then it is best, and it's good for startups and small teams. And application can be scaled down to zero. Okay, you want to. You don't need infrastructure sort of things. Okay, so it's quite a handy tool. ECS point of view is ECS is quite bit complex uh, for multi-container sort of things. Okay, so it's ECS is best for complex multi-containers applications. If you have multiple containers you want to run sort of things. Okay, and you need fine-grained control over containers orchestration. Okay, and also you gonna need a little bit more networking security configuration for ECS, and integration with other AWS services as well. Okay, so even you have existing Docker expertise, but still you need a lot of configuration. On the other hand, also EC2 is the best for legacy application, like you have old Java applications running or C Sharp or something. Those applications are running that can't be containerized sort of things. Okay, so you can run on EC2s, and also for EC2 you might have some dependency on operating systems configuration sort of things, like window base or some Ubuntu or something. So you can use EC2, Ubuntu, Linux sort of things. Okay, and also if you need full control for over the underlying infrastructure sort of things, so EC2 is the best. Okay, and also persistent workload, it serves 24/7. On the other hand, the app runner, it has a limited web application, HTTPS only we can use that. Okay, you can't use the TCP or some other protocols, just only HTTPS only. Okay, and you can't run background jobs or schedule tasks sort of things. Okay, so you have to consider that one. If your node application has some sort of background jobs running, so you can't use app runner, and it has less networking controls compared to ECS or EC2, or it has limited integration with VPC resources. And on the other hand, cost wise it bit higher, I would say. Per request cost for consistent higher traffic application is quite high. Okay, so bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, app runner is ideal for modern small application, medium size, where simplicity and speed matters more than the fine grain control. uh, it is good for application with variables and unpredictable traffic patterns. Okay, so let's uh, start with the actual role, then we will go from there. Okay, we need to configure some AWS CLI sort of things. Okay, first, and GitHub first thing first, just you're gonna need the GitHub uh, account, and when you create the account, the next thing is you create the repository. Okay, so in my case I'm gonna create the repository here, and it will be my node app. Okay, application. So, and keep it private. Okay, so this is one thing, first thing you're gonna need it. So when you create this application, create the repository, it will create the empty repository. Okay, repo. The next thing is, after creating the repository, you are going to need or clone that repository to your local server. Okay, and you're gonna need, so at launch here, so it has this source tree. Okay, so you can download, and it is free for client Mac and Windows for your personal use. So you can download, and it's almost similar to this Git Kraken. Okay, so it's up to you whether you want to use source tree or Git Kraken, is your choice. Okay, but it both. After creating the actual repository, so you can clone it with this HTTPS link, or you can use SSH. Okay, either one of that option you can use. I mostly use HTTPS. Okay, so copy it, and you can use the actual terminal to clone, or you can use the actual Git Kraken, and all source tree also is another option. Okay, so you clone it, and then the actual code you check out, push to the main actual. Okay, so usually like you create the branches here, but in our case, for simplicity sake, I kept it simple, and it is only main branch. Okay, so I push to the main branch everything, and the code is there, and we gonna deploy to the AWS, but before we need the AWS account setup. Okay, so to register the AWS is quite easy. All you need is the email address and the actual credit card, and they are not going to charge it first year. Most of the services today I'm recording is like lots of services are free. Okay, and where there is money or cost will involve, I'll let you know. Okay, but most of the services we're gonna use is they are free. Just only build process and also app runner itself is few, uh, it's gonna cost us cents, but I will let you know where. Okay, so to start with, you can register AWS account with your credit card details. Okay, and when you will have details, then the next thing will be, when you finish registering your AWS, and when you log in first time, you will see this screen. Okay, so basically when you register your AWS, you're gonna need the credit card and your mobile, and also one email address. Okay, you register through your email address and credit card. First year you will get quite a lot of services free, so you don't have to pay. Where there is payment, I will let you know. And when you register your accounts, everything, then you need like either Microsoft or Google Authenticator, okay, MFA. So you set up your MFA, multi-factor authentication, on your mobiles, and for security purpose, okay, so to secure your account so nobody can misuse it. Only you can use it, okay. So when you log in, this is the screen you gonna see first time, and here App Runner is, you can search, okay, it will straight away show you, okay. So this is how you gonna search applications, and this is the actual console you gonna see. But before that, in GitHub, you need the connection between GitHub and the actual AWS. So there are two ways to do it. One is when you are going to use the CodeBuild, you can connect your AWS to GitHub there, and the other way is to basically download the connector on your here GitHub applications, okay, and configure and give the complete authorization, or just only authorized those particular as you can see that I gave permission to read and write access, okay, and only this repository, which is my node application, okay. So I give access to the GitHub connector, and where I got this connector is, this is the actual URL, okay. Here is the actual URL, but what you can do is here apps, and you can search that connector in the marketplace. So this is the connector you will find, okay. It is Gen AWS connector, and because I already connected, so it's giving me tick, but usually it will give you a installation option, okay. When you click it, it will take you like, and also you have to log in already with the AWS, okay. So it will take your session from AWS session, already logged in session, and also if you're logged in with GitHub, so it will give you the authorization screen. You authorized which repository you want to authorize and install it, and it will install the actual application in your GitHub here, okay. So in applications folder, and that's how you create the connection between GitHub and AWS, okay. This is the way, second way to do it. The first one is through within the AWS, where we gonna use the CodeBuild. That's where you can connect it, and the other way to do is this connector you gonna install here, okay. At the end you will end up the same situation, okay, but you do this stuff before. To run Node.js application on your local machine, the first thing you need to know or download is this Docker desktop. So when, and this is like docker.com/products and /docker desktop, okay. That's where you can download the software Docker desktop, and when you finish downloading and installation, then you can start the Docker container, and it's going to look like this one. It's simple software to create the containers for your application, and you don't need much settings, just install it on your. As you can see that there is no containers, no image, nothing, okay. So whenever you build the actual containers, it will create the image here. so with number of versions, okay, version 1, version 2, and when you're gonna run that, and it will shift to the container. Okay, so image we are going to create. Okay, so to create the image, the first thing you going to need is terminal. So just open your terminal, move to the directory which this code is, okay, the Node.js project, and here you're gonna need this command Dockerbuild, and because I'm using MacBook, so you need Linux AMD 64 format. Okay, and the actual application, and within the same directory you gonna click this one, and it will say allow, and within few seconds it's gonna create the actual image, and you can see that it has created the image, okay, which is 152 MB in size, and this is image ID, and the tag is latest, and this is the application. Okay, so this is how you create the Docker image on your local machine. It is the same concept when CodeBuild on AWS are going to use the same methodology. It will build the image similar like this, and then going to push that similar image to the actual ECR elastic registry. Okay, so it's same, and you can push the registry directly from your machine to the ECR, and we are going to discuss like the manual way. And the next thing is you can install your CLI, the actual AWS CLI command line interface, okay, on your local machine on terminals, so you can just run AWS commands, and also you can push your code to the live server directly if you want to from your machine. So to set up the command line, these are the steps Amazon AWS provides. Okay, but there is another straightforward easy way, which is homebrew. Just install the homebrew on your local machine, copy this command and run it. It will install the actual homebrew on your local machine. Okay, then the next thing is what you can do is you can just use the homebrew to download the CLI. Okay, so when you will install the brew, you can check the version, and it will give you the actual version. Okay, so the next thing will be brew install and AWS CLI. It's that simple. Okay, so when you're gonna install, it will install the actual AWS CLI. After that, the next thing is you can use AWS version as well. Okay, and it will give you the actual version 2.27.37. okay, so this is shows that your AWS CLI is installed, right? After installation, the next thing is you need to create connection. When you log in into your AWS, you will see if you have direct root user, then you need to access these access keys. Okay, but the good idea is you create another sub user in IAM identity and use that user with full admin access and log in with that user rather than using the actual root user. Never ever try to avoid using the root user, because if it get hacked or something, then you cannot easily retrieve it, and you will have to go through customer support service, and So it is a bit risky. So better to create another user through IAM identity within your root user. When you first create the account and login, create the sub user, create MFA account for that sub user, and try to log in using the another sub user. Okay, so when you use that sub user, you will end up screen like this. Okay, and your environment, and then the actual uh, access and the access keys. Okay, when you click these access keys, you will end up having like the screen like this. Okay, so this is 2-3 different ways to you can log in. The fun is environment variable. Just copy from here and paste it on your terminal. You are ready to go. The second one is configuration. Okay, and each and every when you download and install AWS CLI, this is the directory it has, and I'll show you how to configure this one. Okay, then the third one is most probably and most famous are the option 1 and 2. Okay, and so the first one is when you copy the actual uh, environment variable and paste it, you are already logged in, and the session will last at least couple of hours. Okay, it is good in a way, like you will, when you switch off the your computer, or you leave it as it is, and the session will run out automatically in few hours. So it's a bit secure. The other one is the AWS configure. Okay, so AWS config, when you press it, it will ask you the access key and the secret key. Okay, ID. So you provide it, and it will go into the actual this file. Okay, so this is the directory, and this is the file. It will go your R credentials, like it is text file, and all your like access key and secret key will be stored in that file. If it your system get compromised, then your keys also. Okay, so that's the downfall, or just one thing you have to consider. Okay, so if you go first way via environment variables, you just copy paste and your session starts, and that's it. You can run your AWS commands for a couple of hours, and that's it. Okay, after that the session will end. But if you use AWS configure, your all information, the success key and access token will be stored into this uh, text file, and it will last at least, I think, 6 months or 1 year, something like that. Okay, I have to check. And so it's your choice, but I use environment variables straight away. Just copy paste, and session starts. After a few hours later, I can again do the same things. Okay, same, copy the environment variables, paste them in terminal, and again I can use AWS commands. Okay, when you run those environment variables, okay, so you can run your AWS commands, okay, easily. So like AWS IAM list users, if you have some sort of users. Okay, the next step is you log into AWS. Okay, and search for ECR. So elastic registry, container registry, you gonna need it. So what is elastic container registry? It's like similar concept of npm packages, where you have package like for node package manager. Okay, already there are public and private um, packages installed, and you can download it. The similar concept is for container registry. Okay, but in your case, you're gonna create the private registry, and all your containers will be hosted there. Okay, all your like in our case, the node application which we build, when it will build through Docker, it will create the container. So that container will go into this ECR registry. Okay, so all the application you are going to build in future, each and every container will have its own registry image. Okay, and to start with, when you click this ECR, you will end up here on this screen. There will be another screen for you. Okay, for me, because already I created the registry, so for me the screen is a little bit different, but for you it will be um, different. Okay, and also one thing to mention that I'm using this Virginia US East 1 zone. Okay, region. So this is the region. You can use it, or it's up to you which region you want to host your application. This ECR. Okay, I'm using the Virginia one. For you, it can be Europe or Canada or any other. Okay, it's up to your choice. Which one is your nearest point? Okay. So when you create this repository, okay, so this is how it's gonna look like. Your actual account, and then inside the repository name. So in my case it will be my node application. Okay, so this is and my node and application. Okay, so this is kind of repository you are going to create, and in that repository you can have multiple like the same image but multiple versions. Okay, so each and every version will be different, for example, based on your deployments. For example, you change something, deployed it, and it created another image. Okay, so version 1, version 2, version 3. So this is how it's gonna pan out. If you want, you can have only one version at a time, and or you can like immutable versions or cannot be overwritten, or mutable, it can be overwritten, or it can't be overwritten. Okay, it's your choice. I'm gonna go with can be overwritten. Okay, means like it will be version 1, version 2, version 3. Okay, leave as it is. This standard encryption, we don't need to use KMS. Okay, when you create the ECR registry, it will look like this. So standard mutable and standard encryption created, and URIs, and then the actual repository name. When first time you are going to upload something, it will be always latest. Okay, so it depends on your tag. So sometime the tag you say version 1, version 2, v1, v2, v3 sort of things. So it all depends on your tag, but latest will be the most latest, the last uploaded image. Okay, and you click this your ECR repository and view push commands. Okay, so this is what you need for your this ECR repository. If you want to push, or of course you want to push your node code inside this ECR, so this is the command you have to follow. Okay, so the first command is you copy all these commands and keep it in some text file or somewhere. Okay, these are files. These are 4 commands, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So first one is basically authentication purpose. It will authorize the user. The second one is gonna build the Docker image, and then the third one is gonna tag your image like with the latest, like okay, or v1 v2, but here in always it will be hard coded latest, okay. And then the last one will be push to the actual ECR. So whatever the build Docker container is gonna push that. Let me show you how you can push directly from your local machine to the ECR registry by using AWS CLI. Okay, so open the Elastic Container Registry ECR you created earlier, and here you can see that. Select that registry where you want to push your image, and the moment you can select, it will enable this view push commands. You click it, okay, and copy that command. Open your terminal where your application is, and you paste it, okay, and here it will login succeeded. That's the first thing. The next thing is you copy the next command, docker build, okay, and one thing to notice that docker build going to need the platform, okay. So here what you need is the platform, because if you are going to build this, it's gonna build x86 image, okay. So but we need AMD. So what you need is platform is equal to Linux, add AM, and this is the command, docker build dash dash platform is equal to Linux AMD64, okay, AMD64. So you click that one, it will build the docker image on your local machine, okay, and you can verify by opening the docker desktop, and you will see the image there, okay. So the next thing is after docker build you need is the actual tag. So the tag will be always latest one. Copy this one, and so it creates the tag for you, okay. Tag is basically version 1, version 2, version 3, so giving the versioning for each and every image you create, okay. The next one, the last one, is the actual docker push, okay. So here you go, you push your image directly from your machine to the ECR registry, okay, and it has done. So let's check here. You see that just this is 10:50:51, okay, just now on 20th June. So this is just now it has pushed the image 52 MB, 53 roughly MB. So this is how you can push your actual image from your local machine to the ECR registry by using these push commands, okay. Here these push commands, all you have to do is to set up your CLIs properly, and when you try to deploy Docker, might be it not work, not function, but you have to do it like add platform. Next thing is we need the code build. Okay, code build. So open that code build, and here you will see create the project. Okay, so create the project, project name default project, and additional configuration you don't need this one. Source will be GitHub. Okay, because already I created, but here for you it will be link like. Okay, so you click here, and you will see this is how you can connect. Okay, so because you already installed the connector, so it will be easy for you to basically connect, select, and create the connection. Okay, so you will end up here like this message, repository GitHub, and here when you will be connected you will see the actual repository or repo which you allowed or gave access to. Okay, so that repo you select, and additional configuration you don't need this one. Yes, rebuild every time a code change is pushed to the repository. Okay, so single build it will be, and whenever you check the code to the GitHub, every time it will automatically this webhook will trigger the new build. Environment will be on demand, manual managed image, and EC2 container, and here I will select Ubuntu. Okay, standard everything stays same, and you don't need much change here. Artifacts, no artifacts, we don't need. CloudWatch log automatically. Okay, and you create this build project, it will trigger first time. Okay, you might when you create the actual code build. Okay, so you give the name and the actual code build you select that one. Okay, and view details everything, or you can go inside and click edit. So here you have to change. The first time you will see that there will be not much in this file. Okay, and also it will create the role for you. Okay, so service based role. Okay, so when you created the code build for you. Okay, so you will see that this is the service role it has created for you, and the main thing we can have is to change this file. Okay, and you have to manually set up the commands. It is YAML file, and the way it is like when you click it. Okay, these are the things you need to mention in this file for code build purpose. Okay, parameter store, you can variables, secret manager, this type of things you can, but in our application is simplified, so we don't need this one. Phases, it goes through to installation, to pre-build, build, post-build sort of thing. Okay, so these are the three phases we are going to mention in our YAML file. So pre-build, build, and post-build. So how it's gonna be? It's gonna be the things we copied from the repository here. You see here, from this repo, view push commands. Remember these 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna list down one by one here. Okay, so pre-build command you can copy from the actual here pre-build commands and paste it here. So pre-build commands, and you can just write some text like starting deployment now or something, any message you can write here, and then paste the same first you copy it from here. Okay, so this is pre-built. So all right, and what you're gonna do is the next will be the build command. Okay, so these are the three Docker commands from here, 1, 2 and 3. So here, okay, so 1, 2, 3. The fourth command is the similar, because we are going to clean up the build we created in our temporary files. Okay, temporary directory, temp directory. So behind the scene, when it will run on Ubuntu, this Docker build command, the actual container, we need to clean that file as well. Okay, so is the same thing here, copy the complete code here, paste it, or true, either one. If it does not run, then return true. And this is another remove, Docker image remove, and this is our application name, latest, and then true. So basically this is for cleaning purpose. Okay, so you have to change this file, and when you try to start the actual application, okay, when you start build, so what's gonna happen is just try to connect it. It will fetch the actual code from the GitHub, okay, and try to run it, but it will have permission issues. Okay, few permission issues, so you will get error. So to mitigate that error, what you're gonna need is from here the actual code build view, and here you see that the role it has created for you, this one. So copy that role and go to IAM roles, and from there search the role. You will have when you go to IAM, identity and access management, and you will find the roles. Okay, that's the role last it was created, that's a similar role we were looking. You click it, and by default it will be just only these two permissions or policies will be assigned to you, this role. Okay, so what you're gonna need is you click attach policies. Okay, and it will take you to this option. Here you can search for registry, and here this power user, public power user. Okay, so this is the role you are going to need it, and also you can expand it, and here you can see that this is what you need, put image. Okay, and describe image, describe image tag, that sort of stuff. So what this role gonna do it is going to pull the actual information, get the data catalog, okay, from GitHub, and after that it has put image also, like to build it, that Docker container, and then put that image to the ECR. Okay, so this type of either you can use this built-in permissions, or the other way is you can create your own policy here. Okay, let me show you how. So this is add permissions. You can create your inline policies and JSON, and here you can write your actions and resources, which type of resources it needs and which type of resources or actions it's gonna have, what is allowed, what is not allowed. So you can narrow down the roles permissions here. Okay, so it's your choice, but I'm gonna use the built-in registry power user permissions, and it will allow me to run the actual code build, and it will fetch the actual data from GitHub and also push to the actual code to the repository. Okay, so to ECR registry. So this is what you need to get rid of the actual error. When you finish that one, the next thing is you again come to the actual code build. Okay, and from there you just trigger the build again. Okay, so let's see, code build, and the project you select and start building, and it will trigger automatically. Okay, here, so it will give you complete log as well. Okay, what's happening with your build, everything, and at the end it will be successful. Okay, so after building, it might take 4, 5, 6 minutes, but after that it will give you this error. So successful. So after successful, you will see that the image in your container registry service. Okay, is ECR. So the more you deploy, it will automatically, you will see that it will be the most latest image will be on the top with the latest tag. Okay, and the rest will go after that. Okay, so this is how CodeBuild will build and keep deploying all your changes to the actual registry. And let me give you the demo as well, like the GitHub here. Let me push some minor changes, and you will see that it will automatically will trigger the deployment. Okay, so when you push it, and you will see that the actual code has changed. I have changed the code. Okay, this new management inside the main handlebars. Okay, here, this one. Okay, so I remove that one, and you will see that automatically the code build will start the actual build. Okay, so basically it has built within 35 seconds complete, and you will see that another image just shown here. Okay, so it's quite fast one. First time it's gonna take 4, 5, 6 minutes even. So you can see that from here, GitHub to AWS build, to ECR, that first phase is done. Okay, so I will create another video for step 2, okay, which will be from ECR to App Runner. Okay, so that will be the next part I will create in separate video. So it will be two-part video. One will be the GitHub to AWS to ECR, which is just now. The next one will be the ECR to App Runner straight away. Okay, so the moment we're gonna create this ECR container new image, it will automatically trigger the deployment to deploy to App Runner. Okay, so that will be the next. With the step 1, we already have in detail idea and how to deploy everything from your local machine to the actual ECR or through GitHub to CodeBuild to ECR. Okay, so I have described complete these two steps. Okay, so one is directly deployment to ECR, the second one is through CodeBuild using GitHub. So the step 1 is we already gone through, which is like so GitHub to CodeBuild to ECR. That's a step 1 we have gone through, and we have seen that how you can build your image on your local machine, and then using AWS CLI you can deploy that the image you built on your local Docker containers to ECR directly from your machine. And then also the second step or second way you can achieve the same thing is you check in your code to GitHub, and automatically CodeBuild will build the container for you and push it to ECR. So that's the step 1 we are already gone through. Let's start with the step 2, which is from ECR to App Runner. We're gonna create the App Runner application, and we will push the ECR image to the App Runner and make it public, and we will access that application. When you are ready to deploy your application to App Runner, okay, the first thing you need to consider is your Elastic registry. Okay. This is the application we created, and you can see that the latest image is already there. So before creating App Runner, it is recommended that at least one image must be ready for inside the ECR, so you can deploy the same image to App Runner. Okay, so in our case the ECR has the latest image inside this application. Okay, so let's start with creating the actual App Runner. So here you can click it, or you can type it App Runner. Okay, so you can select App Runner, and this is the first screen you're gonna see it. Okay. I should alert you that App Runner is not in free tiers. Okay, when you are going to create your application, so it shows here the CPU per CPU cost is very minor, but still it is in dollars. Okay, and GP memory per GB cost, compute cost is this one, very fraction, but still it is. And also when we are going to apply the automatic deployment, so it will be $1 per month per application, and build cost is gonna cost us like quite fraction of dollar even per minute. Okay, but there is cost involved, just to let you know in advance. So let's create the Let's create the app runner application. When you click it, this is the first screen you will see, which contains container registry, Amazon ECR. So this one is the actual pointing. We're gonna use our private container registry, and if you want to use public, then you can use public one. Okay, Amazon, and if you browse and the application you have and the version you want. Okay, so we will have always we're gonna use the latest one. In our case, continue. So automatically it's gonna pre-populate for us. Okay, the actual image URL, and the next bit is manual or auto. So in our case we're gonna have automatic. The moment you're gonna push or you're going to push the ECR image, the elastic registry, any new image you're going to push, straight away it will start deploying the new code. Okay, so we are going to use the automatic one, not the manual one. And here it's saying that access role. Okay, we are going to use the new access roles, IAM roles. Okay, that is gonna need to manage the policies for easier access. Okay, so this is your selection. I can write my node application, and here how many CPUs you want to allocate for. Okay, so we're gonna need might be one, the least one, because not large application. You can choose any one, but I will use the minimum one. Okay, we don't have environment variables because some applications, if you have a node application, might be you're using Mapbox or any third party APIs keys or anything. Okay, so or any Firebase authentication authorization sort of things. So you might need those API keys. Okay, environment variable. So you can set some environment variables here. Okay, and because our application runs on port 3000, so you need to change the port 3000. And you don't need any other configurations. Health check, security, and SAM networking. This is all settings I need at this point. And yeah, let's go to the next. So it shows complete overview. Not much we selected, just only basic application, and we are going to create. Let's create the application. So as you can see that it says it's gonna take quite several minutes to deploy the application. Okay, so this will be our end domain URL. Okay, public URL, so you can access through that one. And as you can see that it shows the log as well, and at the moment we don't have, but when it will progress and finish deploying, you will be able to see all these logs. Let's wait for a few minutes and when it will be ready, then I will get back. Okay, as you can see that during deployment it's giving you the log. Okay, and deployment is also done, and it like create pipelines and successfully automatically deploys and routes, creates TCPs, ports, everything. And you can see the activities matrix is successful. Observability, there is nothing yet. Configuration point of view, we have selected quite small um, uh, CPU, you can see, and very small memory, and port is to 3000. Okay, so, and concurrency and quite small configurations. So moment of truth. So let's check our node application up and running on App Runner. Here you go. So you can see that the application is up and running with this is the domain URL. Okay, so AWS and this is the URL it gives me. So yeah, it's quite easy to deploy your applications full function. So this is functional website we have up and running everything, but one thing is like this is the custom URL we have. Okay, created by the AWS automatically. Okay? And to bind that URL with the custom domain you have, so AWS App Runner give you that flexibility, so you can link your own domain with this URL. Okay, so anybody who will type abc.com or your domain name.com, then automatically it will redirect, and it will behind the scene it will see your application is up and running. Okay, so it will be your domain name.com rather than this URL. Okay, so basically you can use your own custom domains. Whether there are two ways to do it. One is to register your domain in AWS, and the second way is whether you can use third-party domains. Okay, if you click it this custom domain and you want to link your domain to the actual domain you have, so one way is Amazon Route 53. You can register the domain in within the Amazon ecosystem, or non-Amazon, so domain name, your domain name.com, or your domain name link domain, it will ask you to assign the namespaces. Okay, so you can use third-party domain names like GoDaddy or 123reg or any third-party domains you want to. Okay, the domain register. So when you will register those domains in uh, GoDaddy, then Amazon will provide you the name services which you have to use in GoDaddy to point and propagate, and it will usually takes like 24 hours to 48 hours to propagate. Okay, so you just link and follow the steps, and you will be able to manage to link your domain name with this application. Okay, but at this point this application is up and running, and everything is like you can just use and you can share, and it's accessible to the wide public. Okay, congratulations for doing this whole tutorial and learning along with me. Okay, this was a quite good. Finally, we have completed the complete tutorial from GitHub to ECR to App Runner. Okay, so now our application is up and running, and is the complete CI/CD. Okay, is already implemented in that one, and so the moment you're gonna check the code into GitHub, now it will automatically deploy to the CodeBuild and then to ECR. And because we selected the app runner automatic, not the manual deployment, okay, the moment you gonna change the code and deploy to ECR, it will trigger another app runner build, okay, with the new changes. So your whole this flow is automated now. Just you keep changing code, deploying it, or checking in to the GitHub, and the rest it will does for you automatically. You don't have to do it, because thing is, we have used small instance for CodeBuild and as well as the app runner. So it might take a little bit time to deploy it, but it will deploy, okay, because our application is not that big. If your application is growing and getting bigger and bigger, then you have to consider changing the configuration settings to make the instance uh, CPU capacity, RAM, or the computation capacity to more, might be 2 GB, 4 GB, okay, sort of things. So you have to consider those aspects if your application is growing and getting bigger and larger, okay. But at this point, because our application is quite small one, so this configuration works for us, okay. Hope you enjoyed the whole tutorials, everything with me. And yes, this is end of this tutorial. Thank you very much, and we have completed the step 2 of this demo as well, okay. So the application step 1, step 2, we have learned GitHub, how it connected to AWS build, then how using the YAML configuration it deploys to ECR, then we have configured the app runner, which takes the ECR registry private, that copy or container the latest containers, and then deploy to app runner, and your application is up and running, sort of thing, okay. During that we have also learned that how we can install the Docker container on your local machine. You can build it, you can run it, and also we have connected through CLI on your local machine, and you can push through your local machine that Docker container to ECR directly, okay. So these are the things we did in this whole tutorial. And don't forget cleaning up, okay. So you can select the actual app runner and select the delete, and you can delete the application, okay. So you don't get charged. So I have deleted this. This is the main things you get charged. So select the application, and there is a button you will see. Click the delete, and it will delete your application. So if you see, there is no app runner anymore, okay. So this is how you create if you are not using it and you don't want to get charged. So you delete the application first. So it's clean up. So we have CodeBuild also. We deleted the app runner. So to clean up CodeBuild, we can delete, okay, similar, like select the application, and then you can select the action and delete it, okay. But mind that one, that 100 minutes build is free for AWS, okay. It includes with the free tier, as well as after 12 months when free tiers finished or expired, then still you can manage, or you can use 100 minutes build per month, okay. So if your application is small and does not change much, you can keep it, keep creating the your Docker container and pushing into ECR. It's not gonna cost you any penny, okay. And yes, if you use app runner or any paid service, then of course it's gonna cost you. So it's up to you, like whether you want to delete it or you want to keep it. Okay, but this was the demo purpose, so I will delete. Okay, so you click delete, and here, so type deletion, and there you go. If you want to delete the repo or ECR registry, private registry you created, this one, so you can also delete that one. Select that one and delete, and it asks you whether you're sure. Containerize artifacts, everything. Okay, delete, and it will delete repository. So there will be no private repository available. Okay, there is public but private none. Okay, so we have so far deleted the app runner, CodeBuild, and then elastic container registry. Okay, so this is the what we deleted. It's up to you whether you want to delete GitHub connection with AWS, or you want to keep it for other uh, future projects. Okay, so that's not going to affect your billing or not going to charge anything. Okay, so better to keep that one, but delete the app runner, ECR registry, and CodeBuild, all these three sources, and you are good to go. Thank you very much for staying with me that long, and I enjoyed thoroughly this whole process, and hope to see you soon with another video.